Good morning. I am John Grease III. I'm the founder of Garage Life Media. And you guys know that I love seeing home gym tours, being invited into people's home gyms so I can just check out your training setups. And today is a special treat because we have been invited into the home of Matt Brown. Matt has been a follower of ours for a long time. I mean, I interviewed you for back when we were doing articles on the website, when I was teasing you about having the same name as Matt the Immortal Brown from MMA. You've competed in, let's see, let me just go through all the stuff now. You've done Highland Games, right?
Yeah.
Okay, you've done Highland Games. You've done powerlifting?
No, I have not competed yet.
Not competed powerlifting, but you have done some strongman stuff and some grip stuff, right?
Yeah.
All right, okay, so, and then you did, there was something else. I'm trying to remember now.
Yeah, I used to be a rock climber back in
rock climbing. I knew it. See, there you go. Yeah, so rock climbing, and that actually has carryover now because you do a lot of grip training. So
yeah, and that's actually one of the best things that I ever did was take up rock climbing because as a fabricator, you spend a lot.
Now your hands are like claw. You are
constantly motion, and I was developing carpal tunnel. And a friend of mine said, you need to take up rock climbing. It'll break all that up and you won't have those.
Wow. Okay.
Actually,
now you want me to, now you're making me want to interview you again, but we're supposed to stay disciplined. So I said, I'm bringing you here. So we're going to do a home gym tour. And Matt, you live in the Midwest. And so logistically it's better. Yeah, it's better to do this over Zoom, but I do appreciate you inviting us into your home for a home gym tour. So let's go ahead and get started here. And you just go ahead and show us around. I'm going to change this over to speaker view. And so that way we can focus on you.
All right. So this is basically where everything takes place. This is my squat rack and where I keep all my barbells.
All right, so you got a lot of stuff, man. You're a fabricator. Did you make all of that, or do you have a combination of bars you buy and bars that you make?
There's a combination of bars I buy and bars I make.
Okay.
Here on my rack right now, I got my fat grip curl bar I fabricated up.
Oh, that's nice.
And because I sold my regular curl bar to a guy at work that wanted to get into lifting, and I was like, I've always wanted one of those fat grip bars, but they're really expensive.
Yeah.
When you got a pile of scrap metal sitting around the house, you just start cutting and welding.
So how did you figure out the bend, the angle for the bend for the curl bar? Because I'm sure I don't think they have specs for the bend on those bars you can buy. So did you just kind of experiment?
Yeah, a little bit. I knew I could cut a 45 pretty easily, and I actually have a template that they make for fabricators for pipe fitters actually, where you can mark the pipe and cut it at that angle, like 45 and 22 and a half. So.
Oh, you have like an Uglies book or something?
Yeah, kind of. Actually, hold on a minute. I'll see.
Now we're diving deep into the weeds. So the Uglies book has a bunch of equations that you can use for pipe bending. And I happen to know that because I used to work with an electrical contractor.
Yeah.
Okay.
Books are great, but I'm terrible at math, so
there you go. Nice.
Just snaps over the pipe and you mark it and cut it.
Nice. Okay. All right. So you figured out your bends, and then you went ahead and you made that. Now I'm assuming that's empty, and like it doesn't have a solid core.
No, it's empty. The bar itself probably maybe weighs about 10 pounds if it's lucky. And then,
all right, what else you got?
Well, I made my own dip bar this year, which was kind of silly because with the price of steel, it wound up costing me I maybe saved $20.
Well, you did save on shipping costs. Not shipping costs, shipping time. Because you didn't have to wait.
Time, and that was my big thing, was I didn't want to wait for one. So yeah, I ran to the steel yard and bought some steel and got it all fabbed up. And then I made the mistake of checking prices online, and yeah, I felt a little disappointed, but oh well.
I got you.
And this is probably the first bar I made. I wanted a log press bar because had gotten into strongman training, and I didn't want to spend the money on a log.
Okay.
And so I had some square tubing lying around and some pipes, and I made the frame of it, and had an old bar that had a bend in it. So I cut the ends off of it and pieced them in there, and
just welded them in there.
Yeah, it's heavy.
What's the most weight you've had on the I don't know what you call it, on your grip bar, your multi-grip
On my
bar?
bar and all, I've done like 3 1/4, doing some pin presses with it. So
Okay, so it's got pretty good, it's got decent tolerance then.
oh yeah,
That's the only thing is like people are gonna be thinking about it, say, well, if you welded that into an old bar, like what's the strength of the welds? But obviously it's holding 3 1/4. You're good to go. Yeah.
yeah, and that's one of those things. Like if I were to invite one of my actual strongman friends over, I might be a little cautious.
Yeah.
But you know, if you've trained with Titan logs or whatever, it's about the same. But yeah, there's that bar in the back in the rack. I've got my rackable cambered bar that I built because that was a whole lot cheaper than buying from like a Rogue or Elite FTS, even Titan when I made that one.
People don't think about it. It's like you got to pay for the bar, and you got to hope that the bar is in stock, and then you have to pay shipping cost. So yeah, you sidestep most of that by just making it yourself. Yeah, that looks nice. Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, I actually had a guy in one of my Facebook groups go, because I posted a video where I'd squatted like a little over 4.
Yeah.
And I was using like 90 pounds of chains. And he goes, I think it's more than that because most of those bars weigh like 60 to 85 pounds. I'm like, no, I made that one. It only weighs 45.
Yeah. Nice.
And he goes,
like, yeah.
You made that. It looks just like my Rogue bar does.
Yeah, that looks pretty dang nice, man. Nice.
Thank you.
So let's look at the rack. You did not make the rack.
I did not make the rack. No, this rack is one that most people would probably give me a whole lot of grief over because it's a pop sport rack, which is basically, it's Chinese.
Okay.
I got it on Amazon like super, super cheap when we moved into the house from the shed.
Okay.
And I gifted the rack that I had in the shed. It was one I'd made like 20 years ago for a neighbor, and he gave it back to me. And so I gave it to a guy I worked with who didn't have a squat rack at home. And so, I bought this thing because it had west side spacing. It's actually a lot thinner gauge than what I had made. This is probably maybe 12 gauge. I'm hoping it's 12 gauge.
Okay.
But I don't squat 800 or 900 pounds. So if it only holds 750 pounds, I'm good. I think a lot of people, I understand, you want to buy something heavy duty so it will last. But yeah, if you don't squat 700 or 800 pounds, you really don't need like the big Rogue monster rack.
Right. I mean, I was thinking about it too. So aside from the fact that if you start having issues with it, you could always just fix it yourself or make another one. I wanted to know what your opinion was of the rack itself, because you are somebody who makes equipment. So you kind of get to look at it like with more of a professional eye. You said it's top sport. So would you recommend this rack in general to somebody who doesn't have your advantages?
The only thing I had a problem with was, like I said, it comes from China. Actually, it's supposed to have shipped from a warehouse in California, but it had to come from China first.
Okay.
But like the welds are good.
Okay.
But I was missing about half the bolts and nuts when it showed up.
Ooh.
Yeah, so that was a trip to the hardware store, and they're metric, so that was a specialty bolt store.
Not a fan of that. Okay.
Yeah, and plus I was missing a J-cup. One of the J-cups had fallen out of the packaging. But since it is a metric one, I got online and searched for companies that sold in the United States that carried a metric rack, and Bells of Steel.
Okay.
They hooked me up with a new pair of J-cups.
Okay.
And while I waited for the other J-cup to finally show up, and it finally showed up, and then I had to cut it apart and make it mirror image of the one, because I knew as soon as I had tried to email customer service about it, I was going to get the wrong thing. And so it showed up, I got the wrong thing, but I fixed it. So I have 2 pair of J-cups. Full
disclosure, the new bench I just bought is a made in China product. But as a general rule, I use USA made products for like my racks and stuff like that, simply because of what you were just talking about, with the fact that if there's a lot of components here for something that's supposed to keep you safe. And so the average person isn't going to want to go to, Home Depot, Lowe's, or whatever to go hunting down the right bolt or anything else. So that's what I mean by the advantages you have, because you're accustomed to dealing with stuff like that and making things work from your background, your professional background. But one thing I will say, that something that I do like is you're talking about the west side spacing. That is a big deal because I wish I had west side spacing on my rack. I have to do a whole bunch of workarounds so that I can go down in small increments if I want to. And you don't have to worry about that with west side spacing. So that is a plus in my book. Yeah.
West side spacing is something I wished I'd have known about like 15, 20 years ago.
It's such a game changer. All right. Well, what else you got in there, man?
I've got, you can see over here, I've got my
farmer's
carry handles.
Nice.
I made those from some scrap I rescued from the scrap bin at work. I got my trap bar that's still not finished because I haven't thrown a coat of paint on it. The Kabuki came out with their stand-up trap bar. I had to have one. And well, yeah, Chris Duffins a nice guy and all, but I don't want to give him that kind of money.
I understand. Well, I mean, once again, you're a guy who can make your own stuff, and it's not like you're selling it. So you're not stealing from anybody. You're just like, oh, that's a good idea, and you're copying it for your own use. I got you. All right, so let's take a look at this axle bar that's right behind you.
Okay.
Did you make that one, or did you buy it?
I made this one.
Okay.
It started out as a front squat bar. I think Dean Chance is the guy that owns Black Widow Training Gear.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, Dean had come up with this front squat bar, and I hate doing front squats because I always feel like I'm going to choke myself out, and I don't have the wrist mobility to do a good front rack. And so his bar just basically it's an axle with a couple of handles on it, and it's a good design, but a 2-inch bar across your throat, it chokes you out a lot quicker than a regular barbell does. Yeah. So I cut the handles off, and bada boom, it's an axle.
Okay.
It's just a piece of 1.5 inch Schedule 40 black iron pipe that you pick up like at Lowe's.
So show me what else you got.
Well, over here, you can see I've got my Dinnie trainers and some grip tools that I've made. And see this, I got into arm lifting a couple years ago, and there's a guy named John Oka in Hawaii.
Yep. At Jokabug.
The Jokabug, yes.
Yeah.
And this is called an anaconda, and they're made for the individual user. You have to actually send John a measurement of your outstretched hand, and he will tell you how long to make this middle piece. And so I threw this together at work one day out of stuff from the scrap bin, which, it's always handy. Only mine's a little more evil because mine's all polished stainless steel. Most guys get, like textured.
Yeah. So it's a lot slipperier. I got you.
A lot slippery. Yeah. I never got very heavy with it. I think 70 pounds is about the best I can pick up with it. The weight hangs from right here. And basically you try to get all your fingers and your thumb on there as to the best of your ability, which is, it's hard. And you can't bend your wrist when you pick it up. So, you're just doing like a 6-inch pickup, but I think the world record is a little over 200 pounds by a guy in England who's like 5'2" and has forearms bigger than my biceps.
Yeah. We actually have a tour from him on our on here on the YouTube channel as well. In fact, I'll link the tour to his gym at the end of this video so people can check it out if they want. Yeah, Jerome's, it's just unreal the things the man can do with his hands. Oh, yeah, especially like the pinch grip stuff because he's got short finger. Oh, yeah, it's crazy. Oh, yeah. And I've seen him arm wrestle guys like twice his size and just destroy them. So you got the Dinnie Stone trainers, and then right there, that looks like a hub trainer. Okay. And it's also polished stainless because we use a lot of polished stainless at work. And so it's extra challenging, which, sometimes it's good to train harder than what you're actually going to do. Exactly. And then I got a pinch block because that was one of the things we always had at the rock climbing gym was a pinch block to work on pinch holds, which my pinch strength is lousy, but, we try. Okay. And then, my Dinnie trainer pins. Actually, I had my cousin who's a blacksmith make this handle for me. It's a replica of one of Killer Strength Scotland's handles because I couldn't get those guys to ever answer a DM from me, but I really wanted a set of their pins. But since I can make one, and my little handle, it's one of the Rogue handles, and for a company that actually has a replica set of Dinnie Stones,
at their headquarters, you'd have thought they'd have made a better set of handles.
Okay.
Because, I mean, these look like they took a regular welded steel ring and kind of deformed it and beat on it a little bit, painted it black. And I mean, both handles are that way. And, you know,
Okay.
I mean, you can see the size difference. And, you know, my big handle's made, like I said, from measurements from the actual Dinnie handles. And I think this one was actually close enough to the small handle that I used it for training.
Like I say, it's always interesting to hear because you make stuff. So I like hearing your opinion of stuff that people can buy from the perspective of a fabricator. You're like, here's what I think of this thing that you can go buy. So
yeah.
That was interesting. You said that about the Rogue product.
Like right now, if you are interested in the Dinnie list right now, there's two guys I know of on Facebook. One guy's Clint Moneymaker.
Yes.
I don't know who he is, but I know
he's a strongman. He's a strongman competitor. And that's actually his Instagram handle. That's actually his Instagram handle is at Clint Moneymaker. Clint.Moneymaker, I think. Yeah.
Okay. And then Scrap Masters Welding. Oh, I can't remember the whole name, but it's just look up Scrap Masters Welding, and he makes a good looking set of Dinnie trainers too.
Okay.
And you know, if you got the money, you can buy the Cerebrus ones.
Yeah.
I think they just put out a set and they look really nice.
All right.
Let me show you my dumbbells, because these.
Yeah.
Everybody winds up with a set of loadable Olympic dumbbell handles at some point. I took a cheap set of loadable dumbbell handles. I think I picked them up at Play It Again for like $20. And I removed the screw from the end of the sleeve. And I found some steel discs at work because we have a water jet that cuts holes in a bunch of plate that we use for different things. And I just welded a piece of all thread to them. And it just threads in where the bolt used to, but I had to go over and weld the sleeve to the handle to keep it from falling off. Because that's what that's all the bolt does, is keeps the sleeve from falling off.
Okay.
And yeah, I should have used a shorter piece of all thread because it takes forever to thread that in. But that gives you something to rest the dumbbells on your knees when you're trying to do dumbbell bench press with. And then my first little thing I ever made was a dumbbell jack, or a deadlift jack.
Okay.
Because I'd seen those on, I think, Rogue's website at the time for like $60. And I was like, I could make one of those. I got the stuff sitting around the house.
Yeah, it's like a little mini jack that you put them on the end. Okay. Yeah.
And there, leaned up against the barbells, is my knockoff J squat lever belt squat that I used a lot this year. And
I know that was a game changer especially when your arm was hurt, because I saw you using quite a bit on Instagram.
And you know, Spud Inc., I can't say enough good stuff
Sweater
about
vest.
their product.
Yeah, man. When I tell people how much I like the Spud Inc. products, it's like they're like, oh, they're paying you to say that. It's like, yeah, I mean, I get paid when they sponsor our live streams. But on Instagram, when I'm talking about their products, I'm telling you that because I truly think their stuff is awesome, because I've been using it since before they even knew my name. You know, I love their stuff.
Because it's so simple. That's the kettlebell strap.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a strap with a ring and a piece of pipe with some grip on it. But, I mean, that thing will hold 175 pounds swinging around.
Yeah.
And not that you can really, I don't know too many people who can do that. The best I've ever done was like 150, and I thought it was going to throw me across the room when I went to set it down.
I wish there's got to be video of that somewhere on the internet. We got to find that video.
I think there is.
All right. So what else you got here?
I'll take you back to one of my actual first pieces I ever made. This plate tree.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, I made that back. It is pushing 25 years. Yeah, it's 25 years old.
Wow.
And again, that was scrap metal from a bin at work. So I've not had to pay for a whole lot of stuff, thankfully, over the years.
You bought that gun rack. Where'd you get the gun rack from?
I got the gun rack on Marketplace, and
okay.
It was actually made locally from Springfield. There's a company called Axum that makes a lot of CrossFit rigs. That's kind of their gig.
Do they ship stuff?
They do.
Okay.
But I bought this off a guy on Marketplace, and he was selling it for like 35 or 40 bucks.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
it's laser cut steel. And I was like, yep, sold.
To me, a company being a big company doesn't matter to me. It's that they make good products. And again, like I said, you're coming from the standpoint of a professional. So if you say it's a good product for what it does, and hey, even though people might not find it on Marketplace, they at least know they're buying something good if they're buying it new. So
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's cool. All right.
I mean, that. I think I
Is
have
that your
run out of.
front squat harness down
Yeah.
there at the
Yeah.
bottom?
Yes, that is. I still hate doing front squats even with that thing, but it makes them a little more bearable.
Gotcha. Okay. Hooks over the shoulder. All right.
Yeah.
That's obviously your little chalk bag.
That is my
I love
chalk
those.
bag from my rock climbing days.
Yeah, I love that. Actually, I've never done any rock climbing, but I got the idea from rock climbers, like, hey, put chalk in your bag there. Now you don't have chalk all over the gym. So yeah, that's pretty cool.
Chalk is your friend when you're working grip stuff. Okay, this is one of the things that I'm most proud of, and that bench. I made that bench last year. I bought the pad from Frey Fitness, and I really don't have anything bad to say about Frey Fitness. I'm sure they're one of those companies that has their stuff sourced from some other company. I think Frey and Rep. If you look at like all their benches, they all look about the same.
Yeah.
The first thing I bought from them was a flat incline bench, and I like it pretty good. But yeah, I built that bench. The first time I ever benched 300 pounds, the bench I was using was rated for like 250.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That must have been exciting in a bad way.
I take it back. I think the actual weight limit on it was like 5. And I'm like, okay, I weigh 200. I just benched 300. I'm pretty sure I'm going to get more than 300 at some point. I probably better get a better bench.
Yes, sir. Good decision. All right.
And so I made this thing. It's a tank. I built it out of 3/16 wall, 3x3 square tubing, and put a set of wheels on the back. So all I got to do is pick up the front end of it and roll it out of the squat rack. But I put it up on the scale when I got it all finished. It weighs 65 pounds.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, I really wanted the Thompson fat pad for this thing, but Rogue was all out of stock, and I don't think I didn't know Donnie actually sold them himself, so I didn't think to look there.
Okay.
But the Frey pad was like $75 shipped, and the Thompson one's $155. So that was kind of a big deciding factor there.
Okay.
But I've trained at a couple of local powerlifting gyms, and I would totally recommend the Thompson fat pad over any other fat pad.
Nice. Okay.
It's a whole different feel. This one's a little softer. You can kind of see the wrinkles in the
in the top there. Go ahead, show us
from where I have my shoulders.
Yeah. Okay. So you say you'd recommend it. Do you plan on getting a Thompson fat pad then to upgrade at some point?
At some point, if I can bench 3 plates consistently in the near future, I will definitely upgrade. For right now, it's one of those things where I kind of gotta weigh, other expenses. Like I've got my oldest son. He's got a lot of medical issues that that I'm responsible for. So I'm try to be financially responsible.
I completely understand.
I could just get like some sort of benefactor somehow, somebody that just, oh, hey, you enjoy doing that? Let me throw money at you so you can do it better.
There you go. But I also promised, there you go. We didn't even plan that. Had to put the banner in, man. I was telling people that you've been a longtime follower of ours. You are one of the few people who has a banner, because I don't just send them to just anybody. So if somebody has that banner, it's because honestly, you inspire me. And I want you to be inspired by the banner like I am every time I look at it and remember our community. You got a ton more stuff in there, man, but we don't have, I could probably hang out with you, talk training equipment all day, but you got stuff to do today. So
I got stuff to do today, but before I do, I want to say that I train, because you might have saw a little clutter there when I switched the camera around, but I train in a section that's probably only about 10 by 12 at best. So for anybody that doesn't have a garage gym, or that has a garage and would like to start a garage gym but don't think you have the room, you don't need a lot of room.
No, you don't.
This is embarrassing, but this is the reality. Everybody's got
Hey, keep it real.
Everybody's got a garage that winds up being the catch-all for everything that needs to just be purged from the house.
Yeah.
We're there.
Yeah.
So,
but you're still able to get it done in a small space. I want people to see what you get done in that small space. So how can people follow you if they want to keep up with your training on social media?
Yeah, if you want to keep up with me, find me on Instagram at mattbrown7625.